All right. I think we're going.
Word up.
Word up. Word up to your mother.
Part 2,
Dude,
brother.
do you remember the days when mama jokes would get you in a fight?
Yeah, people took it real serious. They still probably would get you in a fight, wouldn't they?
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
I think people still fight for that. Take it real serious.
Wait, mama jokes though? They're like so. I mean,
so like canned.
Were they ever funny? Like, I mean, legit funny. Like, did you ever hear a mama joke? You know, that was like a knee slapper.
No, they're always like, your mama's so fat she wore a Malcolm X shirt and helicopters started to land. You know, you get those and it's kind of like, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was never. I never had one, and they were so quick. You know what I mean?
She sat on a rainbow when Skittles came out.
Yeah,
it's like, he's like dumb. Like so dumb.
But man, it was like back then. It was like a sick burn. You know, you're like, ooh,
yeah. That's what makes people want to fight.
Yeah, is other people saying that.
Yes, yeah, that's the factor.
That is true. Yeah, that is.
It's not the joke itself.
It's super aggravating.
Yeah, because it sucks.
Oh yeah, because you got another dude sitting there saying, "You gonna let him talk to you that way?"
Yeah, yeah. It's everybody around them.
I was going to, but now that you mention it, now that you mention it, stranger,
well, better stab him.
Stranger who I've never met.
Yeah.
Has no
His opinion I shouldn't value. Yeah.
I guess. Well, remember. Oh yeah, dude. Remember, like fighting terms too. Like, let's go toes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did that ever mean? Like, I always in my mind, I never understood that. I assume that has some like legitimate reference, maybe not. So does that mean you put your toes together, like facing forward, and then just punch each other?
Yeah.
Let's go toes, dog.
Connect the toes. Yeah. Well, have you watched that? I know you've watched this. You sent me a fight not too long ago. The bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, of Houston Alexander.
Yeah. So they start those matches where they tell them to toe the line, and so they've got it's like they. Maybe 3 or 4 feet apart, they have a line, and both of them have to put their toes in the line. So I think that's toe to toe.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go toes, dog. Mm-hmm. The first time somebody said
feeling froggy, jump.
Yeah. First time somebody said that to me, let's go toes. I'm like, is that a game?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, I think it was in middle school when like you didn't know that language, and just the language, like just because they knew a couple of cool words, you were like scared. You're like, oh shit, this guy knows something.
Yeah,
that I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just talking tough was something magical back then. You went to Central, right?
I went to Mount Ogden.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Our friends went to Central though.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I went to Mount Ogden too.
Yeah.
Mount Ogden. Yeah. I love that.
I didn't know you then, I guess.
Yeah. No, dude. I discovered just a new phrase that has got to go, and it happened fast too.
What is it?
I feel like it's in this like last, just this last year. Okay, is like, so you know what I'm talking about. Somebody makes what they believe to be a profound comment, and then after that they say full stop.
I just saw this in some congressional hearing.
Full stop.
That's so annoying.
I'm like, don't you do that in telegrams or like?
Yeah. What is the origin of that term?
I don't know.
But when people make it, they say it with a lot of swagger.
Oh yeah. As if full stop. There is no rebuttal to this whatsoever.
Right.
What I have just said has won the argument. Like, and there's nothing to say back to me that is going to be any more awesome than I just said.
Dude, it's like the grown-up version of a mama joke, because then people go, oh, full stop. Full stop.
You just got served.
Yeah. You guys full stop.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's so funny. So, all right. Well, looks like this is part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Part 2 of our Untouchable reveal video.
Word
on this. And yeah, hopefully I got some comments about our so they wanted to hear our commentary over what people were saying in the video, because we were talking during that. And I don't know what happened last time, but they couldn't hear. I'm still obvious. I'm total like amateur when it comes to anything. The fact that like our audio is somewhat clear now is an amazement to me.
And then
also
for the listeners, that's all Mace. Let's be clear.
that's an amazement to me.
I show up and talk.
So
yeah. You make the magic.
Yeah, Jeff's the talent. He just
yeah.
he just shows up.
Yeah.
So dude, but I look at this video piece though that we're here on this. Like, I thought this was pretty cool. How good of like timing.
It's a great shot.
How good a timing is that? That it could not be better.
It's like yo mom.
Yeah, your mom. He's doing a yo mama joke right then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so I think we'll pick up here. Oh, dude, look, there's my bookmarks. Do you ever look at people's bookmarks when they mistakenly share their screen?
Yeah.
You ever seen anything crazy?
No.
I mean, mine are super boring. Like OJP grants, Habitic gets a to-do list, Gmail, like
nothing really that
stupid nonsense. The most salacious thing I've got on here is Netflix.
Yeah, you got some boring bookmarks, man.
I know. But I just want one day somebody to pull up their screen like in a big
like a Zoom meeting,
like when we go to ATSA. So we go to ATSA and somebody pulls it up and like Pornhub's right there.
Man, that'd be amazing.
I'd take a picture so fast. That'd be amazing. Sweet. Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh man,
be like those dudes that presented on the child porn stuff at that napping that we went to. I would expect it from them. Remember those weirdos?
Oh yeah. They were basically saying. Okay, I don't remember what they were saying.
I think they were just saying that child porn's cool.
Awesome. Yeah. It's like, geez,
that might not have been their point, but that's how it came off.
That's how I interpreted it. Yeah. What was the analogy that they used? Like,
I forget if you or I said it, but one of us brought up the NASCAR thing, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. So, they were pointing out that I guess they were trying to point out that just because you watch child porn doesn't mean you start to act on it, which
is true.
I mean, it's kind of a low number statistically, but and then they reference like, well, just because you watch NASCAR doesn't mean you're going to start driving the vehicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
I feel like we had a decent comeback for that.
Our comeback to that was okay, fair enough.
Who's going to be in the stands though if you're not
right? Yeah. However, the reason why NASCARs even exist is because people watch that.
Right.
So the fact that people are watching that creates the market for which the child porn is produced, you dummy.
I feel like that's a damn good rebuttal.
Oh yeah. But nobody said that.
Right.
And it was like our third day in working in this field.
Yeah.
So we had no balls to say anything about it. But
fair enough.
Yeah. This time though, apparently
we'll go in hot.
Well, apparently ATSA is one of those it's like that what was that? What was it? It was a board that you sat on whether or not to shake babies when they're young.
Oh, yeah. It's a to shake or not to shake.
Yeah. And there'd be hecklers in the audience.
Yeah, there was.
Right.
Yeah.
So at this conference, I heard it can get a little bit contentious.
Oh, cool.
And here's what I feel like we have to an advantage. Intellectually, we probably lose, right?
Oh, yeah.
But like the old Ogden High School
I'm glad
days,
you said that, we're gonna.
Yeah, the old Ogden High School days, we're like, hey, you want to fight?
Yeah, we'll beat their ass. That just solves it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we just take this whole conference just down 5 levels of class.
They'll come back. They'll come back and like intellectually turn us into termites.
Yeah.
Like, you want to fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that wins the argument.
That does. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, folks. So whatever your opinion is, that's meathead logic.
Yeah, fighting solves stuff.
Fighting solves stuff. The new guerrilla social lieutenant.
Fighting solves stuff.
Okay, let's hear what Homeboy has to say.
Right. As a kid, we're treating you differently. Forever.
On October 22nd, 1989, our son Jacob was kidnapped.
Showing pictures of old Jacob here.
They biked to a convenience store, and on the way back, they were confronted by a masked man with a gun. He let 2 of the boys go and kept Jacob, so we've been searching for 26 years.
Oh, this is Jacob Wetterling. That's a pretty famous case.
Man.
Jacob knew this phone number. He knew this community. And I'd sit here and expect him to come running up the driveway.
That'd be wild if he did.
Yeah.
I learned
Plot
quickly
twist.
that the number one motive behind stranger kidnappings
right now.
for sexual purposes.
Just 4 months after Jacob's disappearance, Patty and Jerry Wetterling became activists for children, starting the Jacob Wetterling Foundation. In 1994, they helped get the Jacob Wetterling Act passed, starting a state sex offender registry.
If we want to stop child abduction, we have to stop the child abuser every time. So that's what we were pushing for, was to get this as a law enforcement tool in all 50 states. So it was part of the 1994 crime bill, and Bill Clinton signed it into law.
I like that she said a law enforcement
high level
tool.
of recidivism on the part of these
As opposed
criminals.
to-
The Jacob Wetterling Crimes Against Children Registration Act requires those who
I guess as opposed to like a public knowledge tool.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because earlier, if you remember, Homegirl was driving around in the neighborhood just
Recruiting
showing
people to
Yeah, remember? And they're like,
engage in
"Oh, that's old Betty" or whatever, you
Yeah,
know, like, and they started cracking mama jokes about her.
Right. Yeah.
And like I mean, to me, there are you know, if did you finish In the Blood?
No, I haven't started it yet.
Oh, dude, I finished it in a day.
Did you?
So good.
Yeah.
It is so good. Like
It's I got an hour left on my Douglas Murray book.
did you know beginning of July that the series is coming out on Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Terminal List.
Hell yeah.
So anyway,
Chris Pratt.
I know it's really good stuff. So I was listening to, I mean, in there's tools like throughout that. There's tools that he describes that were at his disposal. So this is a Jack Carr. Terminal List is the first book. It's about a Navy SEAL named James Reese, and he's just getting vengeance on a bunch of people and all this crap. Okay, anyway, there's tools that are described, you know, that I didn't know existed before, and access to things that I didn't know existed before. And I think that's kind of okay that I don't know about those things or have access to those things. Those should be in trained individuals' hands. And I think the same thing works with sex offender registries. I mean, I don't know, you know, to what degree it's helpful for the public to know that information. That's what I'm saying. So if it's law enforcement, that's great. I think
as a law enforcement tool, it can be effective.
Sure. I think you just base it on the premise of, you know, if you've done this before, you have a stronger likelihood of doing it again. It's not a guarantee. And, you know, in terms of its effectiveness and utility, it's not a secret where guys live to law enforcement. They already know. You know, this would be like if there was a task force that was looking for him outside of his agent or something like that.
Yeah.
The general public doesn't make a ton of sense. I wonder if they get into that here.
prey on children to register their whereabouts with law enforcement after their release from prison or parole.
The salient image we have of the monster, the sexual predator, is the loner, the stranger who's raped, gets out of prison, and escalates. So might have started with a rape and then moves on to a rape murder. And that's the image that most of these laws are designed around.
And those events that happen, you know, tend to get tremendous amounts of publicity, you know, as do other kinds of really rare but scary events.
Jessica's dismembered body was found Wednesday, 7 miles from where she disappeared walking to
John
school.
Cooey confessed to taking Jessica from her bedroom, raping, and killing her. He was a registered sex offender.
John Gardner, a known sex offender, is now charged with her murder.
Our narratives have applied that same archetype to all sex offenders.
The thought of a sex offender living in the neighborhood can be a constant worry for many parents.
Parents of students at a California high school are worried after a sex offender was allowed to enroll in classes.
Parents are outraged that the sex offender was even allowed into the state fair to work here.
When someone commits a crime, they're punished for the crime. And in one sense, it's sort of the American sense that people can start afresh. And once you finish your punishment, you can then go out and reconstitute your lives. But we've created a subcategory of people that we believe cannot reconstitute their lives and require essentially lifetime supervision. In the context of sex offender crimes, which are so broadly defined, Someone who's downloading child pornography is a sex offender. The 15-year-old who has sex with a 13-year-old is a sex offender. We call the father who is abusing his daughter a sex offender. And we call the person lurking in the bushes a sex offender.
A former local hero, now just another pedophile trying to stay alive in the system.
Damn, son.
Spending the rest of her life in prison for
That
having
is quite the headline.
boy touch her breasts.
Former cheerleader for the Ravens, Molly Shattuck, officially registered as a sex offender after pleading guilty to raping a 15-year-old boy at a vacation home in Delaware.
They were having sex in front of dozens of people in the middle of the afternoon.
They're now facing 15 years behind bars. They're on the sex offender registry with pedophiles and rapists.
How old did she say she was?
She had told me that she was 17.
But she lied. She was actually 14. Judge Dennis Wiley sentenced Zach to 25 years on the sex offender registry. This morning, half a dozen students are set to face child pornography charges
For sending explicit text messages or sexting.
Technically, I was convicted of sending of child pornography.
You are now classified as a sex offender. You have been kicked out of college. You have to take a mandatory sex offender class. You're not allowed to use the internet. You're not allowed to
$1,500 a year. That's cheap.
Close to a school. Do you think that the punishment fit the crime?
He better be careful with what he answers there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, back to this old guy.
I have this little ditty I sing every time I make this particular dedicated run. It goes like, hi-ho, off to registration I go.
That's really original. It's that it's that older gentleman. He was on the
self-described pedophile.
Yeah. He was
Once every 3 months, I have to go down to the local police department to a special unit they have just for sex registration.
8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Those are some weird hours.
Register every month?
Every 3 months, he said.
Oh.
I have 123 days left on supervised release. Once I'm off supervised release, I'm free to move anywhere I want in the United States. Today, I live in a trailer park that is almost 100% sex offenders.
I bet that trailer park has a nickname.
I frequently and almost continually wonder what my life would have been like had I not been a pedophile.
It's not a bad spot compared to other places we've seen.
Seriously.
The trailer park kind of nice compared to West Ogden.
I was going to say, especially considering the other places shown just in this documentary. Like an overpass.
Right. Or, just sleeping
That
on the
blue
air
box
mattress.
is a computer monitor that's installed on here by the federal government.
See,
checking to
knows.
see if I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be. The authorities don't miss any opportunity in advertising who you are. You can go out to the internet and Google my name, and there it is, the picture, and address, and everything.
People stay on these registries and on the internet for decades, maybe for life. Of the newer tools to deal with recidivist violence, the registries probably are among the more sensible of those tools. Where they start to become less useful is where they begin to be over-inclusive, and when they're then coupled with the public notification.
There you go.
Yep.
The Jacob Wetterling Crimes Against Children Sex Offender Registration Act was to be information held and managed only by law enforcement. It was for them to utilize that information to investigate crimes.
Oh, there you go.
It was not designed or created to notify the public.
Huh. I didn't know that. So originally it wasn't designed for the public.
I wonder how it turned into being like public consumption.
Yeah.
After building this, passing it in Minnesota, and working on the federal law, right before it was to be introduced was when Megan Kenka was kidnapped and murdered by the neighbor. the family felt that it wasn't okay to just let law enforcement know where these people live. We should all know.
But would that have...
Today we are taking the next step.
I just wonder if that would have stopped
every
that.
state in the country will be required by law to tell a community when a dangerous sexual predator enters its midst.
So Wetterling developed the registry.
So
Megan's
that
law made it
became
public.
community notification.
Okay.
And that's Megan's law.
We have now created a public registry that has over 750,000 individuals on it.
Oh, I didn't know there was that many.
Public, go online, look for sex offenders who are living in your neighborhood.
What it feels like sometimes is that the intention of that law got hijacked and it went down another path.
You know what, though? If they can even prevent, like, the way they're going to look at it is if they can even prevent one offense, if they can show that by knowing the registry prevented it, like, most of the people in the public are going to say that was worth it. They're not going to listen to, like, any argument that we might make.
My daughter, she's my oldest, and when she was young, and I'd go see my PO or my PO would come over, I could lie
Maybe
and
that's
tell her it was my
necessary. I
friend.
don't know. Maybe it's good for the public to feel like they have some level of
She's a
control.
smart thing, and so I had to explain to her, these are the people that tell me what to do, just like I tell you what to do.
When we're done eating, Mama, and you're done eating, can we go check the mail?
You can go check the mail.
By yourself?
This goes back to our female they kind of highlighted.
Right. I think she had...
Kid's pretty good with those
This
letters
stops me
walking
from
down the
being
road.
the best mom I can be. I've worked about 10 different jobs since I've been convicted.
Wasn't she close age to
I
her
worked
victim?
at Kmart, at Subway.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't
I worked
remember
at
either.
a coffee shop. I worked at a construction company building houses. But then there was a spot that came open to write the paper. I went from working at a gas station to, oh, wow, I'm writing for a newspaper. Like, I'm doing something. This could really lead somewhere. And there was a complaint.
How do you say that? Wowoka?
Somebody found out that I was a sex offender. I was pulled into a room and told that I was fired, even though they knew when they hired me. They just said that we can't have your name out in the public like that, so we're going to have to let you go.
So this right here, I think, is kind of the counter argument to that. So, I mean, I get this kind of goes to, I get the idea of what you just said, which was if only it stops one offense, right? And okay, it could maybe stop one offense, and this is counting on, but this would be only for already registered sex offenders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and by virtue of just knowing their geographical location, I'm now going to be able to somehow stop that from happening. I mean, I don't know what that turns into. Again, I don't know how you actualize that.
Right.
Do you quit your job? What do you do? You know, how do you I don't disagree. Like, if I knew that was happening, you keep a keen eye on that, I suppose. I mean, but I'd may look at the person differently because I know information about them. Just as if I knew anything about them, I might look at them a little bit differently than just a regular old neighbor,
right.
You know? But I don't know how much I'm going to modify my life to account for that or control for that. So if ultimately our goal on this is to, we're all trying to stop them from reoffending, right? My question is like what she's describing, this Shauna Baldwin, does that, I mean, having what we know about risk assessment and the likelihood of committing a future crime, sexual or otherwise, not having stable employment and having to go from job to job, despite, doing a good job, doesn't even matter. Just, a lot of chaos in your job history. Does that increase or decrease the likelihood that you're going to commit a future crime?
That's a risk factor.
It increases.
It's one of the main risk factors that we use when trying to come up with an overall assessment of risk.
Right.
Yeah.
So careful, whatever you're doing.
Yeah. God, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. That thing's not good though. Okay. It is. So that's what I'm saying is, okay, if your efforts are to stop just one, then, and I suppose there's a world that you live in that says, I know that person was there and I saw him being creepy or something like that. And maybe I just got a weird vibe and then, I couldn't sleep that night. Then I heard him trying to break into my house and I called the police and they arrested him. Okay. That world probably exists. I assume that happened somewhere once upon a time. My thing is the cumulative effects of that, if it's disrupting their lives, and this is just one example, that we've had, but living arrangements, so accommodations, not having a stable location, and also not liking where you're living, and also living in an area that is consumed with other criminals, right? Those are all risk factors as well. So what I'm saying is that the registry, the counter to that is, well, while I hear you and while I hear that is not a completely flawed argument, I don't know how you really account for that. I can give you a piece by piece breakdown statistically of how the registry is increasing the likelihood that Shauna or any other sex offender for that matter is more likely to commit a sex offense because they're held accountable by the general public, and how that weighs into impacting their lives. Like,
I think what happens though is you'll say that, and you can make a real convincing case, just like you're talking about how being on the registry increases the chances for reoffense, XYZ. We need to be looking at stable residence, stable job, etc. And I think what people end up telling themselves is like, that may be true on the aggregate, that may be true on the big scale, but I feel better knowing, I trust my own judgment. I want to know who this person is, and I'll make my own decisions. Yeah, maybe they have a point as far as like the big broad statistics. I think that's how people kind of think about it. And it gives the hard part is that, like, because we're talking about, are we making decisions based on the evidence, or are we basing decisions based on like what pleases the conscience? And I think parents maybe feel some level of control in this chaotic ass world, to where it's like, okay, at least I know my surroundings. I know who these people are. Does it increase or decrease? I don't give a shit. Fact is, I know who the creeps are, and I'm going to keep my kids away from them. I think that's how people look at it. Yeah. Even though because I agree with you. I'm just saying.
And just think about any recent trainings that we've gone through. And this is what, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely true. I assume you do feel better about it. However, this is what you're doing is you're telling yourself a story. Okay?
Yeah, right.
To make yourself feel better about this situation. That statistics be damned. If I know more about this, then I feel more in control and more comfortable. And as a result of that, however I'm going to be able to prevent something like this from happening. Okay, but I mean, what do we know about that? Like, there are two types of evidence. There's anecdotal evidence and empirical evidence. And anecdotal evidence tends to make us feel good. This is kind of what we train therapists on, is like, you once upon a time tried a technique with a client, and for whatever reason it worked. And then you tell yourself a story that is the technique to work with all clients. And I don't know the conditions that were set up in that session or that person's life or that point in time in your career that made that intervention work, whether it's, equestrian therapy or nothing on equestrian therapy. I'm just, or whatever flavor of the month intervention you were trying to use. So if you try to replicate that and generalize that now to all of your clients, the effectiveness of that is likely going to make it more likely, especially if you're working with criminal justice clients, it's going to make it more likely that they're going to recidivate and go back to prison. Whereas empirical evidence, which is what we're trying to counter that with, it's just not super sexy.
Right.
It's based on numbers.
Yes.
And it never really makes anybody feel good. It's kind of just boring. You know what I mean?
That's exactly where I'm coming from with it.
So, I mean, I think, the only thing you can do is educate people. And and give them the information to make a decision. That's all you can really do. You know, I mean, you're not going to. Who the hell am I? If your family member of yours was sexually abused, like, who the hell am I to tell you how to feel? I'm not going to tell you. Like, I'm just saying, what's your goal, and do you have the information necessary to meet your goal?
We're
and
appealing to the rational side of people.
Right. And then you decide how you're going to try to achieve that goal. That's it. If you want to, keep people from reoffending objectively, are you doing a good job of your behavior? That's all we can really do.
Right.
Okay, let's see what Shauna has to say here. At least she's smiling in her registry of picture.
Right.
Most dudes are like,
boo. Yeah.
What?
Goldfish.
Okay, go get him and take him to your room.
Goldfish, huh?
The most anyone has paid me hourly is $10.25 an hour, and that's currently about $300 a week is what I take home.
I wonder when this was made.
My probation fee per month is $40, and then to go to group it's $170, and then polygraphs are around about $200. So if you do the math, over the last 14 years, it comes out to about $35,800, somewhere around there, that I have paid in all my probation fees, classes, and polygraphs. I have to register for life, and I'm on probation for life. So
I love probation
20
for
years
life.
down the road, when my kids are grown and I want to buy an RV and just go travel the world, I can't do that.
We're going to give you a chance.
I have to be available
we can take it
for
away
probation,
anytime.
and I have to be available to take polygraphs. And if I go to a new state, I have to register with that state. I have to get permission to leave the state. I want to travel. I want to show my kids something.
How fast is that dog
Seriously,
running?
dude. It's amazing.
I tell my children all the time, there's a
It's the highlight of the show.
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
Florida. You'd be surprised at what the houses look like in Florida. I tell my daughter all the time, or Montana or Colorado, show her the mountains, Let them know that when it's time to pick a college, honey, go. Go see the world. Go.
So she's in Oklahoma.
Do so much more than I did.
Some of those southern red states are pretty strong.
Well, you could tell the time because there was a sign that said "Take Back America, Impeach Obama."
Oh, I saw that.
So this was at least, back then,
2015.
Yeah,
This was Waldy's room.
not $10 an hour, not bad.
Right here. Her bed was here. When Waldina finally got arrested, we originally had offered her 10 years. And she sent a note back with her attorney to tell Mr. Book to go fuck himself.
Wow.
And so we were moving forward with the trial. And, it was October the 11th, which was the day before my 18th birthday.
And this is Homeboy's daughter, the main character guy.
The 10th, she said, I'll take the 10 years. And my dad sent a note back with the state attorney, tell Waldina to go fuck herself. It'll be 15, and she has to apologize in open court. September 4th, 2025, Waldina will be out. Hi, can I please have 2 large iced coffees?
2015.
Mm-hmm.
Super, 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 super light with skim milk and 12. 12. And you got a haircut. Very nice. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
He's hiding his face.
Good morning. How are you? Good. I like your necklace.
That was a weird order, though. Super, super,
We all
super,
have those
super
formative
light.
moments in life
like what?
that
She ordered
define
coffee.
us.
Yeah,
I was on my bed and crying, and my mom came up, and my mom said, "Why are you still crying about this? It has been months, and this happens to everybody. This happens to all girls. This happened to me. And look at me, I'm fine."
Her mom.
And it was in that moment that I realized that I needed to do something different. That could not just be the status quo. That it happens to everybody, get over it. That just was not acceptable to me. my goal in life,
Lisa Ling right in the forward,
is to create a world where children can be safe. Because kids don't have to suffer the way that I did.
For the first part of my life, I always felt invisible because if anybody actually saw me,
she's presenting at Lauren's Kids. It's her foundation.
Going on every night.
Looks like she's putting on some sort of a charity walk or something.
Right, yeah.
To you, Dad.
Lace up, speak up.
Before we walk our final mile, because I don't know that I would be the person that I am today and be able to do what I do every day if it wasn't for those few little words. I'm sorry, pick, and we'll make it better. And so thank you for believing me. Thank you for seeing me.
Dude,
thank you for making this possible.
That's a hell of a message to tell your daughter.
Right.
This happens to everybody.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Thank you for your tireless
work
to raise awareness on child sexual abuse. I was silenced at a young age, and it took me 10 years to tell my story. It took 30 years to be sharing it in front of all of you.
I found out about this abuse January 13th, 2012. And it was devastating to know that somebody could do this type of thing.
All those candles just seem dangerous, man. Look, of course, kids starting to fire immediately.
And we just each year chip away at things that need to be fixed. And so to put the bad people away.
And we need to remember that the work is hard.
So what does this fundraising go to?
There's a counter demonstration.
Did they say in our dumbasses we're talking?
From across the country.
I don't know. He's saying that there's a counter demonstration with a group of pedophiles, offenders across the country. And that they've been organizing for months to.
We've intercepted lines in their emails.
I assume this goes to survivors?
There are people who will come and march on my Capitol.
It's got to.
Yeah.
On the last day of my daughter's walk, with people from across the country who have either been convicted.
Just thinking of a group of like sex offenders mobilizing to come counter protest. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, especially about this. Like, you think that would be
what?
An immediate violation.
Dude.
You know, hey, do you want to go disrupt this victims? Like,
I can't imagine anybody in our groups organizing that to push back against something like this. How does that happen?
Well, like anybody in our groups, like think if somebody just brought that up in group and said, hey, here's what we were thinking about doing.
They were like, shut up, dipshit. Yeah,
I'd be like, what?
Us therapists, we wouldn't even have to say anything. The other offenders would call
Right. They'd be like, are you out of your mind, dude?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not even listening to this crap.
That is weird.
Yeah, that is kind of.
I don't get it.
Let's go ruin this for this girl.
Wow, dude.
Our last mile of our walk.
This seems like the guy you wouldn't want to screw with.
I don't want anywhere near those kids. It terrifies me.
He's got a personal vendetta. You don't want to be protesting.
I can tell you that every law enforcement agency that's in this town will be on a high alert.
Let's see this tie.
We have already met with them. We are deeply concerned about it. Remember what these people are.
Oh, they had the Motel 6. Watch out.
That's filled in enough for you. This one, I think that's good. You can see that.
Oh, it's moms.
They're going to be coming up the road, but
group of pedophiles, two old ladies.
Okay, they will have police officers, walking around. They'll have plainclothes police walking around. As long as it remains a peaceful protest, we're fine.
How families are affected by sex offender registry war. What's the acronym?
It's so
blurred, huh?
Concept
Women
is
Against
that
Registry.
If the moms,
there we go. Okay.
Grandmothers,
Vicky Henry, a mother of a registered sex offender.
If they then say, okay, well, we're collateral damage. We're being injured too.
That's moms being moms.
The shame is just so overwhelming. And we just feel like there's no forgiveness. When does redemption begin? For the family and for the registrant. When?
I'm new to being involved with war, and so
spell that wrong.
I'm very nervous about being in the public
Shirley Furley.
So I don't know.
Oh, I hope a lot of people show up. I hope that they're not scared. They just come out. I'm doing it for my husband. I'm doing it for him. I'm not ashamed of him. I'm doing it to help other sex offenders and their families. And I wish people would get out more and understand that they're not alone and they're not by themselves and they shouldn't be ashamed. And I know a lot of people are scared of it because they don't want to show their face and they already know they can't get a job. But I want families to know they need to step up because they have to change the laws. If we don't speak up, it's going to always be the same. It's never going to change at all.
That's way comforting. That it's not a group of, like that guy said, a group of pedophiles.
It's way different.
Protesting.
Yeah, exactly. That makes some more sense.
Yeah, it's a bunch.
It's their moms.
Literally
a double variant.
5
So would you mind
moms. No, it's not even. It's 3. It's 3 moms.
No, do you have that reserved? Because I went and talked to the police.
That's fine if you'd like to wait for the police to come.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll wait for the police. Oh, the fuzz.
I mean, honestly, that's the only people they're going to have as sex offenders back is their own mom. You know.
Yeah. Oh, there's one dude there. I don't know about bringing your kids to a protest, though.
They're coming. Yep, this is the moment.
Bad optics, man.
Yeah, it's a little dicey.
Yeah, it's just, what is it? It's like grandstanding or something.
Yeah.
Like at your kid's expense.
Yeah. Two old ladies holding up a sign that says war. Women Against Registry. This doesn't pop off somehow.
I kind of feel bad for those ladies.
So I'm not kidding, folks. There's literally 5 people protesting. How did he intercept emails from those poor old ladies? They probably never sent an email in their life.
Florida legislature. You have a governor.
Ooh, Rick Scott, the old Florida governor.
That is going to do everything we can to make this the safest place in the entire world to grow up.
Florida?
Individuals like Lauren and Ron.
Murder capital of the world?
Yeah.
Lauren and
Weird
Ron,
shit capital of the
they're
world.
on a mission. I know what they're doing.
The birthplace
is the
of Florida
thing,
man?
for the
Right.
state of Florida, for the children that are in my district, and that's all I care about.
Ron Book does not take no very well. It's always either this or death. It's yes or death. You know,
Yes
when you
or death
operate
is
like
rough.
that, you get a lot done.
Folks believe in his advocacy. They want a winner. When you go back and you look at the totality of the legislation that's passed, maybe 40% of the bills that we pass has Ron Book's fingerprint on them.
You mean about everything?
About everything.
Ron Book, he's got the resources to say,
powerful dude.
I don't want this to happen to another family. I want to try and do something to change the world. If his daughter had been shot, we'd have very different gun laws. If his daughter had been hit by a drunk driver, we would have very different drunk driving laws.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the perfect paradigm of what's wrong with lobbying, where people with a motive, whether it's a financial motive or a psychological, emotional motive, get to write the laws.
It's another example of what we're talking about with anecdotal versus empirical evidence.
She's on top of the world.
It's not really a stretch to say that he's one of the few most powerful people in the state, has been for many, many, many years.
I've always wondered what it takes to be a lobbyist.
Count the number of
Money?
successful
charisma.
professional people who have refused to go on record
Got
saying anything
half of
critical
one of
about
those.
Mr. Book because they believe it is dangerous to their professional standing in
It
Florida.
doesn't start with M.
So it's a real problem, and I won't pretend that I'm not frightened. There you have it.
Frightened? Miami. Yes.
Bienvenido, Ami.
Highway. Yeah, that's a safe place to grow up.
Miami?
Yeah. I'm texting and driving. A stud.
You can't turn this stuff over to law enforcement people, making a citizen's arrest for bad driving.
Damn, dude. He is.
What?
He has literally no hands on the wheel. He's double fisting it looks like a Palm Pilot. And just driving down the freeway. Yeah.
I mean, the documentarians are making a point of showing that.
Yeah.
You want to know what I like? I come through the gate, I'm left alone.
Look at that. Damn.
I like
Audi,
getting home
Aston Martin.
and watching my crime shows. I love the Law and Orders. I love the CSIs. I love Blue Bloods.
Dead Butler.
I love them all.
Dude, this guy's got a crib, man.
My children gave me Lauren's idea, a pair of swans for Valentine's Day 8 years ago. Hi, guys. And I love those swans so much. I went out and bought myself another pair, and I love those so much. I went out
I thought you weren't supposed to give bread
to 15, 18
I guess if they're your swans, you can do whatever you want.
But don't tell too many people that I'm into birds and fish, because they won't believe that Mr. Tough and Mr. Cutthroat could be into those kind of things. They would say, oh, if he's got a fish tank, he's got a shark in it. I did have a shark in my tank, actually. Do I want to continue to have materialistic things, drive nice cars, eat nice meals? Yeah, I'm a capitalistic pig. But I give back and I put back exponentially.
Sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the
SVU, yeah.
Unit. These are their stories.
Nothing happened that night.
She's not telling the truth.
What?
It's a show.
It's a drama, buddy.
Yeah, it's a show.
Of course she's not telling the truth.
Yeah.
She's an actor.
Yeah. Good insight, bro.
Yeah, I'm harder today. I am. Those people who came to march on Tallahassee, they probably wish they could put that back in the bottle. All 12 of them.
Oh, there's 12. Okay.
They ought to figure that out.
It looked like 5.
That all they're doing is recommitting me, refocusing me, and refocusing my daughter on our agenda to make this place safer for others. They don't believe there should be registries. They don't believe there should be notification of people where predators and pedophiles live. They think they should be restored all of their rights and allowed to go out and infiltrate our communities.
By infiltrate, he means live.
Yeah.
Live in.
It's a pretty sweet license plate, though. Rebel.
Is that what it said?
Jeannie Cornett's son was raped when he was 11 years old.
An outraged mother on a crusade. A self-described vigilante.
She educates families in neighborhoods on technical probation violations and helps send sex offenders back to jail.
Oh, we need an army of you. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
We do need an army of you.
Oh, yeah, we're building one.
Oh, she looks way different there. Mari.
I was molested as a kid, and I never told anybody about it. No one until that day when we were talking, and then it just came out. We're telling everybody about it. We're telling it's happening. It's happening every day.
So they're
it's
in a bar with a rough and tumble
girls.
group of
That's why I'm here.
Harley Davidson riders, I assume, are in motorcycle clubs. Clubs, not gangs.
Yeah, it's motorcycle clubs.
2 to 13 when I finally told.
I'm a single dad, and my daughters are very fortunate that we've never experienced the things that I hear about here. But I'm here because I believe in the mission statement, and I believe in Judy.
The chick had a Vagos jacket on.
A Vagos? What's that?
These flyers are the sex
Motorcycle
offenders
club.
that Predator Patrol has had arrested.
Ivago? Isn't that the bad guy from Othello?
Yeah.
This is one that I had arrested.
No, that's
His
Iago.
name is David
Yeah,
Kersey,
Iago.
and he's a police officer.
That was a bad guy from
I went online and posed as a little boy.
Iago was the
really
bird.
got into a very nasty conversation, and he got arrested. This guy was a registered sex offender with one address, but he was living with his girlfriend. So we had him arrested. The Spanish guy was consuming alcohol on his porch. Consuming alcohol technical violation and went back to prison. This guy is a truck driver. He had failure to register. This one here was an ordained minister that I had arrested. This is Aaron Chapman, the partner in crime with Kevin Kinder, who kidnapped my son.
Decent enough place to stop here. Looks like they're going to do another offender profile, huh?
Okay. Yeah.
That is Iago from Othello.
Yeah.
By the way, it's like the best Shakespeare play there is. What do you think? That one, Macbeth's kind of cool.
Dude,
Othello was the best. Iago was a stud, dude. Like I remember reading that in high school, or maybe it was college. I can't remember when it was, but I was like, this guy is so cool. Like, just he was so like manipulative and demented. Oh, you should. Othello's pretty cool. I like that one. Oh yeah. You'd appreciate Iago. He's super manipulative. Like he's my hero.
Yeah.
It's like me and Cartman.
Yeah. And Gaston.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't really manipulative.
Yeah,
he's just cool.
Yeah, he's just cool.
Yeah. Hopefully I get to meet that guy here in a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. What would you think? Like it's kind of like that. It's weird because it turns into, the main, what is it? Protagonist in this? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Book.
Yeah.
Mr. Book.
Yeah. Is he, I mean, it's like, that last little bit was kind of telling about how, you had 12 protesters come out, and these were all, I mean, literally, they were just old ladies, and wives and stuff. And they're just, I mean, he wasn't really wrong with what they were trying to go for. But he's like, yeah, they're
recommitted him.
They're provoking me, almost.
Yeah.
And like it's a war, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know,
which is the name of their organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely is personalizing it. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't know how I'd react if I had what was that lady? A house maid? I don't know what she was, whatever she was.
Yeah. Like a nanny kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. That had earned trust for years and then abused my child to that degree, in that just degrading way that she did. That this documentary does a good job actually kind of showing both sides of it. Mm-hmm. Because this book guy seems, he's a hard ass, and I think he's misguided on what he's doing, but I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's easy for me to understand the perspective of the sex offenders they're showing, because you and I talk to those dudes and ladies day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
We get their perspective. So I don't know. It definitely shows what his motivations are, though. Like, because I had the same thought. They're watching these, again, 12 women, and he's taking it as like a personal affront.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if you if you think of any of those cases that were highlighted, and if you understand the stories behind it, Wetterling, that was just a kidnap. They never saw him again. There wasn't really much to that. Whereas, like, if you, so I don't know, I was listening to true crime podcasts, and Jessica's Law, the events that surrounded that, and Megan's Law, dude, they're horrific. Like, if you hear the stories, they're horrific.
Yeah.
However, and I'm not saying that whatever you think somebody should be punished that way, I'm not trying to change your mind about that. However, I do think there are some drawbacks and some risks about making federal and or state laws based on one case,
right?
That's going to affect an entire subpopulation of criminals, people who are now just as involved as a result of their behaviors, and the impact on them long term. Again, you just have to know what your goal is. If your goal is ultimately I want to make their lives more miserable.
What's the effect of that?
Full stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the effect of that, though?
If I don't give a crap and my only goal is to make their lives miserable, mission accomplished. You did it. You know what I mean? If you're truly invested on because so far, I don't know. That's where I wonder if where true motives lie. Is that I internally my personal thought of justice will not be satiated until I have, until I've visualized or seen or witnessed X amount of people go through misery for X amount of years. Maybe that's it, or maybe it never ends. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. Like, is this you trying to get your personal satisfaction and your sense of justice satiated? But I don't know if that's really if that's what it is, because they're not saying that. Nobody says that. Nobody says, until my personal sense of justice is satiated, I will not stop doing this. That's not a very good selling point. What they do say is they say, this is to prevent future sex offenses from happening and make our community safer. What I got to say is, you are failing at that with these policies. That is, you're making people's lives more difficult, and the more difficult you add to that, you're by virtue of creating rules, you're also creating risk factors that make it more likely that they're going to reoffend again in the future. That's
yeah. It just in his last statements, I think you see that exact dynamic come out that you just said, because he frequently used the word safety or community safety several times, but then also while he's talking about that, he's talking about, that it remotivates him. He gets that vein in his head and his lip almost starts to quiver. Like the dude his emotions are on his
eyes kind of become squinted and focused.
Yeah. He's saying community safety, but you can see that there's just like a veneer of political professionalism over seething rage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I would just say, where are your true motives? And if that's where you're going to go, just be open about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
I want to screw these people over.
Call a spade a spade, man. If that's if that's the reason why you're doing these things. So that should lead us to episode 3 next time. We should be able to wrap that up. What do we got here? We still got 46 minutes left. God, we got to shut our mouths.
That is the problem.
It's kind of tough. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I guess we'll, hopefully it doesn't go into episode 4.
Yeah, it might be.
Or we'll do a long episode 3. We'll see what kind of, see what kind of feedback we get.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, until next time, full stop. No.
Yeah.